everybody. My name is Tim Costello. I'm the broker here at Remax First Advantage. And today we're going to have another candid conversation with one of our great agents, Mr. Jim Penny. Jim, welcome to the Zoom call.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, how are you doing today, buddy?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Jim, you've been with our company for how long?
Started in January of 2020, Tim.
January of 2020. So we went right into the pandemic when you got started. So it was a little different than most agents with their start. And Jim,
Yeah,
you are a native of Camp Hill, aren't you?
that's correct, Tim.
Do you
Yes.
currently live in Camp Hill?
Yeah, I've lived in Camp Hill since I'd say 1980.
Okay. And tell me a little
Um,
bit about your family and the history of your family in Camp Hill.
sure, sure. Yeah, my father and my grandfather were in the truck stop business.
Okay.
Uh, a lot of the older people in our area remember Three Gables, which was at the corner of 32nd and Market in Camp Hill, right across from where the Turning Point restaurant is now.
Okay.
And that was really a crossroads at the time. My grandfather also had Twin Gables in Carlisle, which is right next to the Carlisle Country Club where the truck wash is now. And a lot of the old timers from Camp Hill, there was a diner there. People would go there to eat, so everybody knew Three Gables. Uh, they worked on cars at the time. I have pictures of my dad on the old motorcycle at home when he used to run the service calls, probably back in the 40s or 50s. Even an old menu from the restaurant, you wouldn't believe the prices when you look at that old menu.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So your family's been around the Camp Hill area for a long period of time, very well known. I mean, seriously, anybody of the age of, I'd say 40 or older would certainly know where that Three Gables was at 32nd Market Street in Camp Hill. I think it's now a Sunoco station that's there now, correct?
that's correct.
Yeah, yeah. So Jim, what made you decide to get into real estate? What was the passion that drove you to get into real estate?
Well, it was a couple things, Tim. I actually had rental properties before I joined Remax in 2020, so it seemed like a natural transition. But the big thing was that I had worked in the insurance business for 23 years, and the owner of our company decided to retire and sell the company to a larger company that basically eliminated a lot of people when they took over. So I had to make a change.
Okay, so a change was evident that you needed to make, and you decided at that point to get into the real estate industry. And lucky enough for us, you decided to choose Remax First Advantage, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And
what were some of the things that brought you to Remax First Advantage? I know one was my father at the time.
that's right. That's right. Well, you probably know my father died in 2017. And, shortly after he died, my mom knew Terry Guyardette, and she was just curious about getting a valuation on our house. So your father came out with Terry, and Pong came along too. And they just made a very good impression on me. At the time, I was still at Benefit Vision, which was my old employer. I wouldn't leave that job until 2019. But when I did eventually lose my job, which was unavoidable, I spent a 6 month period. I put about 80 applications in at different employers. Finally got one offer in the insurance department over at the state, and it didn't really sound like a very fun job. I would have spent my whole day dealing with problems and complaints from consumers that had some sort of gripe with an insurance company. Not only that, I would have been starting off at the bottom again after having worked 23 years you know, to to improve myself and to make a good income. And I just thought, well, I can either do this, I won't live long enough to get back to the point where I make a decent income, or I can come somewhere where I can, my results are based on my own effort, basically bet on myself and have some independence. So that's why I chose Remax First Advantage. Uh,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm glad you did,
a
Jim.
lot of that had to do with your father. I was very reluctant to get into an all commission business because I had tried that when I first got out of college. I worked for Northwestern Mutual Life for about 6 months. And in that time period, I made about $1,500. I remember it was very difficult. It was very uncomfortable for me. That was when I went to work for Benefit Vision in the call center. But when I came in, I felt at home right away. Your dad made me feel so comfortable. He spoke highly of my father. I saw the pictures of Penn State and football on his wall. I thought, boy, I feel like I'm right at home here. So that was a big part of it. Your dad was just he was such a great guy. He treated me so well. I can't say enough good things about him.
Thank you,
So
Jim. Yeah. So
yeah.
let me ask you a question. I know how hard you work for your clients, and what is important to you to provide great customer service for your real estate clients?
I thought about this. I think one of the biggest things is we live in a society where everyone is so busy every day. And I'm sure you've had this experience where you've called somebody and you have a question or you have a concern and they're very brusque or they're curt with you because they're in such a hurry. And I always come away from that with the impression, well, this guy can't wait to get me off the phone, or, I'm not really that important to this guy, or it leaves me feeling uncomfortable. So I think one of the big things is that I try to really listen to the people that I work with. And I always like to make them feel like when they're talking to me, I don't have something else on my mind, even though I do at times. And that when I'm speaking to someone, they're the most important person at that moment and they have my complete attention. And I think communication is very important. I came from a communication background at Benefit Vision. That was my former company. And what we did was we talked to people one on one. We explained their insurance benefits, which, that's a complicated topic. A lot of people, unless they're in that business, they really don't understand their insurance very well. So I think that was sort of an asset coming into this from that background.
Okay. So, Jim, I got another question for you. Not only is the customer important to you, how important is family to you?
Well, my family is very important to me. You asked me about my father, what he did. I'm very, very proud of my family history. It's just me, my brother, and my mom now. And we're all we have. So the older you get, I think, the more you appreciate your family and you realize that it's really really the most important thing in life. And if you can provide service to other people and do something good, I think that goes a long way.
Okay, good. So, Jim, what interests you? Like, what kind of hobbies does Jim Penny have? What are things that you like to do?
Well, one of my biggest passions is cars. My dad had a love of automobiles. Uh, I'm involved with the BMW Car Club locally, the Nittany Beamers chapter. Served on the board there for the last 10 years. I've been the membership rep. I tracked our numbers. Now I'm the secretary. I take notes at our meetings. Made a lot of good friends there. People that are into cars. It's sort of like a clique. They're so passionate about it. Uh, I also enjoy golf. I can't say I'm very good at it, but I enjoy the relaxation,
Yeah.
getting out. Golf course is a beautiful place, and it's just a way to clear your head and uh, decompress a bit, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you travel a good bit too. I think I've seen some pictures on Facebook of you and your mom and your brother at Hilton Head going golfing and golfing trips every year? Is that a place that you travel to often with your family?
Yes, I have a lot of good memories of Hilton Head. I guess it was in my freshman year of college, my parents bought into this Marriott timeshare. We were one of the first to get to buy into that when they built on the island. And yeah, we've been going down there ever since, probably for, I guess, the last 30 years now. So it's kind of a second home. Um, and I've been fortunate enough. I was to the Caribbean, been to California, Arizona, over to Germany. So yes, I love to travel. There's, a lot of places on my bucket list, I guess you could say, that
Hmm.
I'd like to make it to before I die. But yeah, travel's great and good food. Good food. I love good food in moderation. But when we travel, we try to find good places to eat, and it's my dad was really into that. The vacation was a way to explore the local cuisine. That was his thing. He loved to eat. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So while you've been with our company for the last 5 years, you've established a pretty close relationship with Kong Dang from our company, and you share similar passions with Penn State and Penn State football. Tell me, Jim, what does Kong bring to the table for you at Remax First Advantage? How has he helped you with your business?
Colin's a great guy. I mean, we have a lot in common. He's, of course, well, I know that we don't really have bosses here, but I guess in layman's term, he is my boss, but he's also my friend. Um, yeah, I've learned a lot from him, just having someone that's willing to go on appointments with you, show you the ropes that you can bounce ideas off of. Uh, I never feel there's a lack of support here. You always have someone to ask questions to when an issue comes up.
Okay, good. Well, Jim, I'm glad you agreed to come in and chat with me on our Candid Conversations Zoom calls. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wind this up for today?
No, no, I'm glad to be here. It's a great place to work. Just want to continue to improve, move the right direction,
Yeah,
and
good.
grow over time.
Okay. Again, Jim, thank you for joining us on our series of Candid Conversations. We are certainly glad you are with us and have been with us for the last 5 years. We look forward to a great 2026 and wish you the best and your family. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Tim.